Happy New Year, everybody. We're here at Beyond the Ring podcast. It is our first recording of the year because, unfortunately, the holiday season fell with New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve being on our Tuesday, scheduled recording. So we took 2 weeks off, but we are officially back. It is the new year, and there is a lot to talk about in pro wrestling. I, of course, am Andrew, and I am being joined here, as always, by Jason.
Yes, I always appear here. Late or not, I'm always here.
Jason has become the regular. Like we said before, unfortunately Dalton had to drop out on us, and Jimmy can only make it sometimes. So I'm sorry, Dragon can only make it sometimes. We've got a lot to talk about, and lots of things going on in professional wrestling. I think I know exactly what the first thing we want to talk about is, and because I believe you commented on my Facebook comment or my Facebook post saying that we definitely need to talk about it. So let's not wait any longer. We're going to talk about good old Daniel Wyatt.
Yeah, honestly, I like how they're going to move with this. I did say in I think the past few episodes that I did think they were going to eventually get him to be a member, and I hope it can roll smoothly. I assume that they'll bring a Bray and Daniel with WrestleMania most likely, maybe, and I'm thinking it might happen early at the Rumble, maybe, if they have them fight, because it doesn't look like Daniel and the two other guys, the lumberjack guy and I don't even know their names, but
Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, I believe, are the two names you're looking for.
Yep. But yeah, so I think this might fall apart a little earlier, just because the way they kind of did this a little late in WrestleMania season. I mean, not WrestleMania season, but in just the whole leading up to WrestleMania. So I think that they're setting that up.
It'll definitely be very interesting to see where they go with it, because there's a number of things, I guess, a number of things out there that are possibilities. I think one of the first things that comes to mind is having a blow-off match, Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, which I think would be a great payoff for this rivalry. I'm surprised that Daniel Bryan ended up joining them, because I almost felt like he was like, okay, you're gonna fight those two, and it's the last Raw of the year, and I, like most people, or I think most people, were assuming Daniel Bryan was going to win the Royal Rumble, go on and win the championship at WrestleMania finally. But I don't know. Did you happen to hear the rumor going on about Daniel Bryan for WrestleMania?
No, I have not heard that. I have heard that Batista is supposed to win the Royal Rumble, and that it's going to be him and Brock at Mania.
I really hope that doesn't happen, and we're gonna get to that in a little bit. So I'm gonna hold you off on that thought right there.
Yeah.
There's actually been some rumors circulating around that, they've obviously started discussing WrestleMania matches and what they want to do with WrestleMania. And there's a rumor, someone said backstage, that The Undertaker is personally requesting to fight Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. So maybe the whole reason for this Wyatt turn, for this joining the Wyatt family, is maybe they're trying to put Daniel Bryan into a heel role so that way he can fight The Undertaker at WrestleMania, because I think it's pretty obvious that they don't want to go into WrestleMania with anyone. It doesn't matter who it is. They don't want to go into WrestleMania with anybody being cheered more than The Undertaker. And I think you saw it a little bit last year with CM Punk, where it was kind of 50-50, or maybe 60-40, 60% being The Undertaker, 40% being CM Punk. So they had that dynamic, and I think that it might be a legitimate worry that if Daniel Bryan fights The Undertaker, that there will be more yes chants than Undertaker chants. And I don't think the Machine. I think it's pretty obvious that the Machine kind of isn't into Daniel Bryan, but like everybody's kind of making him be a part of the main event scene and everything. And maybe they're putting him in the Wyatt family to like try to get people to stop doing the yes chants, because he won't be all like trying to get the crowd hyped with the yes chants and everything. Try to kill the yes chants before he fights the Undertaker at WrestleMania.
And the funny thing I actually caught yesterday watching the match with Daniel is that they still did the yes chants, even though he didn't do the kicks the normal ways he does. They still did the yes chants even when he came out. I found that kind of amusing, honestly, because I think that's what their main goal was, to stop the whole role Daniel's been on as the biggest face in the company.
Yeah, and it's unless they're going to play it up to try to really get the whole miscommunication to keep happening and whatnot, I could really see it being. I could really see it eventually dying out. If he's not playing to the crowd anymore, eventually it's going to die out, or it's going to turn into no chance against him.
Yeah.
Like it was when he was doing yes and people were yelling no back at him. So that's just an interesting side of it. I'm not going out there and saying it's going to happen or anything like that. I'm not saying that it's true. I'm not trying to be that person who's like, oh my God. I'm just saying there's a rumor that I heard that there's the possibility of that happening, which would be very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked pretty much everything about this transformation. I liked that they weren't on. I liked that they weren't all on the same page right off the bat, because that would make sense. Like if you just came into a team, you haven't teamed together yet. It's like the opposite of what WWE tends to do. It's very logical booking. Let's be honest. Okay, like you've never been a team before, so you're going to team against people who teamed before and all that. Where you're going to lose because you're going to have a miscommunication. Very logical booking, and I liked that aspect of it. I liked Daniel Bryan coming out in different clothes to really show he's a part of the Wyatt family. I liked that even he wasn't in the ring for very long, but the amount of when he was in the ring, his wrestling style had changed, and that's how good of a wrestler Daniel Bryan is. That he's not. He didn't get in and do the same things that he does when he's Daniel Bryan. When he was Daniel Bryan, yes. He got in there and like he had this like he was throwing a lot of knees, which like he usually doesn't do. He throws kicks, and he had just like this really like rough style that felt like it complemented the Wyatt persona very well. And it was almost like he was changing his moveset ever so slightly to be more aggressive and more like the Wyatt mentality and style.
Yeah, and I did mention this to you last night, but not in the whole fact that they were sloppy, that was the whole story, that they're supposed to kind of not click at first. But I honestly thought I don't know which one's which, but it's the tall guy with the black hair. He wasn't on his A game last night. He kind of screwed up a Hurricane Rana, and then the bald guy screwed up the 619 for Ray. But I mean, I guess that comes with not really being used to being thrown around like that by a little guy. But I just thought I would put that one in there. That thought that it was a little sloppy.
Yeah, and Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen to the best of us, and it's gonna happen because it's gonna happen because it is a fight. Like, if you think about it like a real life fight, not everything's gonna be perfect, and that's what they're trying to portray. And mess ups are gonna happen, just like in a regular fight. You're not gonna land every punch, and you might slip around sometimes and stuff. So nothing's gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah. So let's I'll let you take the reins first, since I did a lot of talking there. But you brought up Batista winning the Royal Rumble, and well, you know what? We'll get to Brock Lesnar, because that's almost a separate thing. Talk about the Royal Rumble winner. We'll talk about Batista. What's your opinion on the matter?
Well, I mean, I absolutely love having Batista back. That's that. But I think the way the promo looked yesterday on Raw, that it honestly just showed me. It was like showing me the light that Batista is going to win the Royal Rumble, and I feel like Brock may or not be in that match, but that, like you said, that's another topic. So, but Batista in the Royal Rumble, that's I think that might be a no-brainer that he might be the winner of this, because Daniel Bryan now is out of this whole scene, basically, you would think, and you don't really see. I don't see, obviously, Del Rio winning. That's a joke. But that's my opinion on the Royal Rumble and Batista returning.
Yeah, I'm fine with him being in the Royal Rumble. There's usually 3 or 4 returns, even if it's a one-night-only return, which Batista is not a one-night-only return. We already know that. There's always 3 or 4 returns, so I'm fine with him being in the Royal Rumble. I'll be honest. I will honestly be kind of upset if Batista wins the Royal Rumble. I don't want it to happen. Like, when did that happen? Like 2005. Like, it's almost like been there, done that. Like, there's no reason to come back to it. Especially to come back and be like, oh, well, here's this part-timer who's going to win, and then go to WrestleMania and then, like, leave. And I don't know. This may not be the case. Batista may be back
full-time.
He may be back full-time on, like, a 1-year or 2-year contract. I don't know that. Just from previous perspective of people who have come back and have been in his spot where they're, returning big stars. They go away after a while. And I think it's a waste of a Royal Rumble win to have him come back, win his second Royal Rumble upon returning, and then go on to fight at WrestleMania to, have, like, an okay match and then ride off into the sunset a couple of weeks later, lose the title to someone and ride off into the sunset and really not bring anything to the company. I personally, I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I really don't want to see him win it. I think it's going to be awesome to see him return. I think the crowd's going to love it, but I don't think he should win it either. I think he might be one of the final ones in there. But just a little thing off topic. I know for a fact that Tommy Dreamer will be coming to the Royal Rumble. He will be one of the participants that does go in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is it, leaking shit all over the internet?
CM Punk he wrote a tweet out, and then Tommy Dreamer said that he was coming to it.
Interesting.
So that's something to be excited about, I guess, if you're an ECW buff, but that's pretty cool, I think.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if we're getting this Daniel Wyatt character, I don't think that we're going to have Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble, unless that's the whole ploy. Because you remember he said about how, like the machine never got behind him, and no matter, how hard he tried, how hard he fought, how many championships he won, how loud the people chanted yes, the machine didn't get behind him and kept taking it all away from him. So it would be interesting to see if with this new Wyatt character, if he still won the Royal Rumble like everybody was expecting, and then maybe the Wyatt family interfere to help him win the championship at WrestleMania, and we possibly start this turf war between the Wyatt family and the McMahons.
And I would think that honestly would be a really cool thing, and I think that would be something. I think not that we're waiting for it, but we've seen the Shield that they've already had their thing with the Authority, so you got to think the Wyatt family's going to have something with the Authority at some point.
Yeah, and it would be interesting if it turned out to be like a, then we could have the swerve that we always wanted, and have Kane end up actually having been a part of the Wyatt family, and the whole time, and it was like a ploy, you know what I mean? Like they were messing with Vince, and he was like a plant in the office, and then we could finally get that swerve.
That would actually, I didn't even think about that. That's actually really cool if they would have Kane, like he was like their spy, basically.
Yeah, well, we were wondering for a while if that was what was going to happen, and I'm not really sure it's possible. Personally, I want to see, and I believe that this was going to happen for the longest time. I want to see CM Punk win the Royal Rumble. He started doing this whole thing with the Authority, and the Authority was, fighting against, and the Authority was fighting against everybody, and they were pushing back against, who were they pushing back against? And then CM Punk made that, I'm sorry, I got a little off topic. CM Punk made that comment about the Authority, and then, the Shield kept jumping him, and he kept saying about how it's, the Authority's telling the Shield to do this because they don't like that I'm criticizing them. That's when I start thinking, I said, maybe CM Punk's going to win his first Royal Rumble, go on, win the championship at WrestleMania. I mean, if we're not going to get a Daniel Bryan Royal Rumble win, then I want to see a CM Punk Royal Rumble win.
And I would be totally okay with that, because I think honestly it's time for a little switch, maybe for Punk to be heel again, and I think that would be, if he gets the title again, he could become the heel he was before, which, like I said before, I would say he's been one of the best heels we've seen in the past decade.
Yeah, and that would be really interesting. And I'm not trying to be that internet person who's always like, Daniel Bryan this, CM Punk that, kind of the same shtick that they're just kind of on their D, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I am strictly saying, that from a logical booking standpoint, because I believe that us as fans deserve a logical booking standpoint after getting months and months of non-logical crap shit booking. That whole thing with Big Show crying and all that stuff in his home and all that. What was the big payoff in that? Like, the big payoff should have been this huge match between Triple H and the Big Show. But it never happened. Our big payoff was this god-awful Survivor Series match between Randy Orton and the Big Show. And it was like, man, and then the whole Daniel Bryan with the Authority, like, no good payoff there either. It's really a killer.
And I'd even say with the Shield, I think they've even swerved off of the Authority type thing. I think they're doing their own thing now.
Yeah, and I agree. And there's other things in there too, like who else do we want to throw in there as an example? Okay, now maybe this will come full, like we discussed, maybe this will come full circle and we'll get Kane being a plant in the Authority, and he was really a Wyatt family member the whole time. The whole Wyatt family Kane thing, kidnapped him, gone. Kidnapped him, he was gone, he came back, and all of a sudden he joined the Authority and, didn't have anything with the Wyatts, and, that didn't make any sense.
Hopefully that was their plan, to have us not think that, and then have Kane be that ploy and be that bump in the rug.
Yeah, and that was the tip of the iceberg. Okay, let's go. We'll talk about Brock Lesnar.
I gotta say, before we start this, I love the fact Big Show threw him yesterday. I love that.
I agree. I thought that was really cool. I actually made it. I don't know if I sent it to you or if I just sent it to a couple people. I do remember when he came out and Brock Lesnar was standing there and then kind of backed off. I did text a few people trying to get it out before anything would happen. I tried to text a few people and say Brock, you better run because Big Show's gonna cry all over you, or I said something like that, he's gonna get you wet with his tears because he's gonna cry. Pretty much making fun of his storyline with Triple H, where there was all that crying, and then there was no good payoff. I would have been completely okay with the crying and all that shit if there was a really good payoff, but there wasn't. Anyway, continue with Brock Lesnar.
But Brock Lesnar, he basically got thrown across the ring diagonally by Big Show, which, like I said, I thought that was awesome. But I felt like I was a little kid watching the Attitude Era again at the end of that. It honestly looked like that that might be the match Brock Lesnar's going to be in at WrestleMania. That it might not even, the whole Batista Brock thing, that's just a rumor, but the Big Show and Brock, I think that's got to happen at not Extreme Rules, Elimination Chamber, and I'm actually looking forward to it. I hope they can put a good match together.
Yeah, I've been kind of wondering about the whole Brock Lesnar situation, because he's running around calling himself the number one contender to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and he's pretty clearly stated that he's not in the Royal Rumble, and doesn't need to be in the Royal Rumble. So I'm a little confused, I guess, as to the championship match that he's having can't happen at WrestleMania because Brock Lesnar's back too early for that, and the winner of the Royal Rumble has to get the shot at WrestleMania. So you have to assume that Brock Lesnar's championship match is going to be at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I screwed up my words there. I meant his match against Big Show would be at Royal Rumble, not Elimination Chamber.
No, it's all good. So is he fighting Big Show at the Royal Rumble, championship match at Elimination Chamber, and then a final match at WrestleMania, or what's going on? Is Brock Lesnar going to jump in and cost somebody the Royal Rumble? Then they'll cost him the title at Elimination Chamber to set up the WrestleMania match, kind of like how they did with Goldberg at WrestleMania 20, where it was Brock came out and eliminated Goldberg, and then Goldberg cost him the championship at the next pay-per-view, and then they fought at Mania. I don't know.
That's why I think it might happen with Batista and him at Mania. Just to have Batista win the Rumble, Brock wins at Elimination Chamber, and then that would set that up.
And oh my God, do I hope to the Lord in heaven that doesn't happen. I'm going to be really upset if that's our WrestleMania, big championship match main event. Now, I would be okay if we had Batista versus Brock Lesnar. I don't want the championship in that match, though. I don't like it. I'm okay with the match. Have the match for all I care, but don't have one of those guys be champion. And don't make that your marquee championship match, in my opinion.
Yeah, I honestly don't like how Brock Lesnar's just going to come back and be the big guy he is and then say, oh, I'm number one contender. And I'm going to be here for 2 months and leave.
Yep.
I just don't like that.
Although I'll be honest, when Brock Lesnar came back, said he was going to be number one contender and everything, a thought kind of shot through my mind, and I kind of wondered to myself, are they secretly behind the veil and like no one is seeing it? Are they setting up, and I think it'll be glaringly, maybe won't be glaringly obvious, but maybe it'll be more obvious after WrestleMania. Are they pulling the wool over our eyes and like we're all thinking about all this other stuff, but we're not seeing what's happening in front of us where Brock Lesnar's going to win the championship and CM Punk's going to win the Royal Rumble. And we're going to have Punk Brock 2 for the championship at WrestleMania.
And I think I'd be okay with that. I think that would be not interesting. We've seen it once, but I did enjoy the first one, so I mean, I think I'd be okay with that championship match. Like you said, I don't like the fact that Batista and then Brock have their championship match after how long they're out and how long they're going to be back. But I do like the whole fact that maybe Punk could be champion at the end of WrestleMania with that.
Yeah, I would really enjoy that match. I mean, I very much enjoyed their SummerSlam match. Thought it was excellent. And I think they could do it again, and I could be, making some crazy shit. I mean, is that not what is great about what's happening in the WWE right now, is that we can't sit there and go, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, because really, anything can happen at this point.
Yeah, and I feel like it's been like that since SummerSlam when we saw Triple H pedigree Bryan.
Yeah, it's that's when wrestling is fun, when there's possibilities, and I think wrestling could be more fun if they took some time to make some more stars and invest in people and didn't do the machine stop and start that they do all the time. Because I really think the machine stop and start is really messing with their talent now.
Yeah. And just another random side note, I feel like we could be seeing a new tag team champions just because rumor has it Cody broke his ankle yesterday. That the WWE actually released it that Goldust basically had to carry him out of the ring. So we could be seeing a new champion maybe, and then I honestly can't wait till they break up. I want to see that rivalry go down, Goldust and Cody. But that's just something that maybe happened. It just crossed my news feed, so thought I would let everybody know that it could be a change.
That's interesting, because if he is hurt and they do side with and they do side with having him or he can't get healthy enough or whatever, and they end up having to what's the word? They drop the titles. Is what I was looking for. It'll be interesting to see who they decide to go with to continue on, because they could give it to they could give it to the Wyatts, they could give it to the Usos, they could give it to the Shield. I think the Shield is the less likely, because they're slowly showing that breakup, and I think they're really getting them ready for that. So I don't think they're going to give them the tag team titles back. But then there's Los Matadores.
I hope they would give it up to, honestly, the Real Americans. I liked their match last night.
I hope so too. I've been really pushing for the Real Americans. I think that out of the list there, that the Real Americans should get the tag team titles. But you never know.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if I've said it before, but you said about the Shield hitting their breakup soon, and I see WrestleMania 30, and I think it's going to be a triple threat match, and it's going to be for the United States title between them three.
Yep, I'm right there with you. As much as it would suck to see the Shield break up, I'm kind of like pushing for it, and I kind of really want that triple threat match to happen.
I would thoroughly enjoy that. You got the powerhouse, and I don't know. I would love that match, and it's eventually going to happen, but it's kind of just when is it going to happen, and it's going to be soon, I think.
No, I'm right there with you. Not sure if you've been keeping up on things, TNA, but the new World Heavyweight Champion is Magnus. He won the championship, and he was having his celebration, and none other than the champion who walked out on them, AJ Styles, walked back in with the championship.
I did know about AJ. He left. Didn't he perform? I'm pretty sure he performed at Ring of Honor.
Yes, he did perform at Ring of Honor. I do know he is currently booked to perform at CZW in February in New Jersey, and I do know that he is booked for an event in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania in March. And I don't know who he's fighting for CZW in February, but I do know in March in Harrisburg, PA, he's booked to go one-on-one with AR Fox.
That's going to be a good match.
I think that's going to be an absolutely excellent match. I think it'd be great. I've actually, honestly, thought about, maybe getting a ticket and staying at a hotel overnight up in Harrisburg on Saturday night to go see the match. I don't know yet. We'll see when we get a little closer. But, I've thought about doing that because I want to see that match.
Hey, if you're doing that, I would totally be down if you were doing that, because that sounds like a fantastic match.
Yeah,
But another thing on the Indies, since we don't have Dragon this week, Colt Cabana is going to be at Monster Factory doing a show, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. He's going over there to do a seminar with those guys. On Friday night, and then Saturday he's going to be performing. I'm actually going to pull up the event right now to see if I can give you an official match listing. All right, we've got the only information I have is our two main events. We have the tag team champions, the Legion of Anarchy, are going to be going against Cliff Compton and Colt Cabana. The tag team championships are going to be on the line for that tag team match. It is the first time ever that Cliff Compton and Colt Cabana are teaming together. And for the Monster Factory Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, you've got the current champion, Mark Cruz, defending the title against his former best friend and tag team partner, Shaheem Ali.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Mark Cruz. I think didn't we see him when we went to the Monster Factory?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I think that I've watched a few of his matches and what they've done, and I do like Mark Cruz.
Yeah, he's an absolutely excellent wrestler, and I would love to see him get signed to the WWE like their former champion Tommy Macklin did. Also appearing at the show is going to be the Blue Meanie, Joe Gibson, Good News Hughes, and Bilvis Wesley. They will also be appearing, and much more. There's going to be, much more matches, and even more names are going to be there. That is this Saturday in Paulsboro, New Jersey. Doors open at 6:30, and the show starts at 7. Tickets are only $12. I have the poster pulled up on my computer, so I figured I'd finish the plug with all the information on the poster.
I think that's it for indies, because I don't really know too much on indies.
I can give you one more. I can give you one more because I know CZW is having their January show. CZW is having their January show this weekend as well. And I know that is a personal favorite of good old Dragon. So I figure I will throw that on there as well. For some reason, my computer's loading their website incredibly slowly, or their website sucks balls, one of the two. I'm going to say this. They have good wrestling. I have enjoyed their shows. I haven't seen a CZW show in probably about a year and a half. I do enjoy their show. Sometimes they have really dumb names, though. Like, for example, this month is called Answering the Challenge. What kind of show name is that? Answering the Challenge. Fucking dumb, in my opinion. Your main event, CZW World Heavyweight Champion Drew Gulak defends the championship against Lucky 13. An international ultraviolet extravaganza, Arrow Boy is going against Danny Havoc. Tag team champions Blackout defends against the Beaver Boys. And I'll give one more match here. The CZW Wired TV Championship, who is Alex Colon, is going against Devin Moore. There's much more matches there on this show, including a triple threat match, and much more. Just trust me, there's a lot more on the card. I just wanted to read through a few matches for Dragon. So, unless there's anything glaring that we didn't bring up, or that you want to bring up, I think that's pretty much a wrap for our show. I mean, I know we talked about some indies a little bit. We talked about Daniel Bryan and the Wyatts, the Royal Rumble winner, and Brock Lesnar, as well as some predictions for the Shield for WrestleMania, kind of. So if there's anything else you want to cover, let me know. I mean, if not, then I think we'll sign off for the night.
Actually, there's two things I would actually like to bring up. Loved having Jake the Snake back yesterday. That was at the end of the show. I thought that was actually pretty cool to have Jake come out with his. I'm pretty sure that was a python. Or I'm not a snake expert, obviously here, but that was cool to have him come out, and it honestly almost looked like Dean Ambrose was laughing when the snake went on him, which was kind of eerie, but I thought that was
he was
cool.
marking out, so there was like that little kid inside of him that was like, oh my God, this is so awesome.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing that up. I'm so mad that I forgot that. That was absolutely awesome that they had Jake the Snake Roberts, and that was like the last person on earth I expected to come running out to, at the end of the show. Awesome. Easily the biggest and best return of the night.
And I would have to agree with you on that one too. But I think a pretty close second, in my opinion at least. It was pretty cool to see Scotty 2 Hotty come back with Rikishi and what the heck is the other guy's name?
Grandmaster Sexay.
Grandmaster Sexay. There you go. But that was also another cool thing to see.
I was all about that WORM worm. That was a mark out moment for me, easily.
Yeah, as soon as you saw the hop, and I was just like, yes, we're gonna see it. He's got to do it.
Yeah.
He had to do it once.
Love that move.
And then I guess we can close the show off on the question of the day. And the question is, since you tuned in last night to Raw, which Raw legend, no, not Raw legend, but WWE legend would you have wished came back last night?
Oh, that wasn't there that I had wished came back last night. That's a tough one. Do you have your answer already?
I would have to. I don't. I tried to think of one, but I did not have the answer yet. I would have, honestly. I think I'd have to say Stone Cold. We haven't seen him for a while, and I think that would be pretty cool to see him back.
Stone Cold is a good one, an interesting one. I would have to say, I'll give my number one and number two. My number one was a man who we didn't see, but we know we're going to see in a few, in a few weeks, The Undertaker. I don't know why, but I just had this feeling. I was like, I think The Undertaker is going to show up and is going to set up his match for WrestleMania this year. But then you're thinking about it. It's so early in advance. Yeah. And could they keep it going that long with The Undertaker not being able to wrestle? So I kind of wish The Undertaker was there, but I understand why he wasn't. We're going to see him in a few weeks.
He always makes his return. It's usually right either before the Royal Rumble or right after.
Yeah, and my here's my other one, and I know because he's a free agent, I know because he's not under contract or working for TNA Wrestling anymore. I had deep down in my head, I was like, I kind of thought about it. And I was like they're doing this old school Raw, and it's kind of the first time they're doing an old school Raw where Hulk Hogan is not under contract with TNA, and I kind of wish we had heard the Real American song and Hulk Hogan came marching down to the ring. When the Shield was dominating, I expected Hulk Hogan over Jake. Not that Jake the Snake is not as good or that I wasn't as surprised, but I was almost like, oh my God, this would be the perfect moment to bring out Hulk Hogan and have him fucking throw the Shield out of the ring and Hulk up and shit.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with it being Jake the Snake Roberts. I just so Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was the guy that I wish would have been there last night.
Okay. And I'm thinking of all the things I wanted to talk about now, but another thing I wanted to bring up was tomorrow they have apparently a big thing. Not to be a spoiler, not to do that, but I'm almost positive that they're changing the WWE logo. That it's going to be something different. I've heard rumors that they've wanted to change it the past few months, but I'm almost positive that's the big announcement that they're changing the logo of the WWE.
That's interesting. That's interesting because that's not what I thought. That's not what I had in my head. I honestly kind of thought it would be an announcement about the WWE Network.
Yeah, I mean, I totally could be wrong too. I mean, rumors are rumors; they've been proven wrong and proven right. But that's what I think it's going to be. I think it's the logo switch. But Who knows? WWE switching everything up. We'll see.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
I mean, there is one thing I do want to say, and I know I texted this to our buddy Dalton last night when I was watching the show, and they talked about the announcement. At least we know that it's going to be a legitimately big announcement, and it's not one of these Dixie TNA, this is going to change us forever announcements, and then it ends up being something stupid and nobody cares about in a month. And they're not crying wolf. They're not like every 2 months being like, an announcement that's going to change change TNA forever. WWE's not doing that.
Mm-mm.
So, at least you know it's going to be. At least you know it's going to actually be a big deal.
Yeah, it's actually going to mean something. It's not just going to be a huge load of crap that TNA's done.
Yeah. All right. Well, it is 8:00. I got some stuff I got to get to, as I always do at 8:00. So we got to make sure we end these shows by 8:00 on Tuesdays. Jason, would you like to throw out your handle out there that the people can find you if they're interested?
Jason F96 Instagram. That's it, folks. Hopefully your New Year went well, and I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, you can find me at Kibe Talk on Twitter. That's right. You can find me at Kibe Talk, and I am greatly looking forward to having this podcast and talking about wrestling over the next upcoming weeks, because wrestling 99.9% of the time gets extra exciting, extra good, extra drama, gets 10 times better when we start going towards WrestleMania, and we are officially in WrestleMania season. So I'm actually really excited to start talking about wrestling now, more now than I was back then.
Yep.
So I'm Andrew, signing off with Dan. Dan, oh my God, how the fuck? I'm looking over here at my computer, and Dan popped up with a chat message to me, and that's why I said, Dan, I feel like an idiot over here. I'm Andrew. I'm signing off with Jason. See you guys farewell from Beyond the Ring podcast, and we will see you guys next week.